Good evening, ladies. Welcome to my live, where we're going to be talking about all you need to know for your optimal preconception care. I am Dr. Fiona Tassoni. I am a doctor of Chinese medicine specializing in fertility, and I'm so glad you could all join me today. So some housekeeping notes before we begin. I want you to just make sure that you mute your microphones, and also remember that you can ask me any question at the end of the presentation. So turn your cameras on at the end and I'll address all of your questions in the Q&A. So stick around to the end and let's move forward into prenatal vitamins. So do you need one and how do you choose one? So I do recommend that all women trying to conceive, that you do need to take a prenatal vitamin. All right, that's the number one thing you need to start with. All right, well, ideally you'll be getting all of this from your nutrients, from the diet, but unfortunately most women are just not getting all they need from the diet. But it's not your fault, partly because we have issues with modern agriculture. We've got depleted soil, we've got pesticides, glyphosate, all these things that are really depleting the soil. We've got busy lives, stress, cortisol, just on the go. We're using too much of cortisol, and so we need to supplement with these supplements to lower the cortisol, lower the stress. We might be also coming off medications. If you're coming off birth control, all of these things can really deplete your body. So major studies in the US of women of childbearing age, including most women in the US and other countries, they're chronically low in so many nutrients. And I'm going to go through a lot of the nutrients that they are low in, and we need these nutrients for childbearing years and pregnancy and postpartum health. So protein, vitamin B6, we've got vitamin E, vitamin D, folate, your essential fatty acids, iron, what else? Iodine, we've got calcium, zinc, and magnesium. Like, these are the key nutrients that are not just critical for, being a healthy human, but it's also to support the baby, conception, pregnancy, and your postpartum health. So in the Pediatric and Perinatal Epidemiology Journal in 2012, this is a systemic review on the effect of women's health and nutrition before early pregnancy and maternal and infant outcomes. The data indicates the importance of women's nutrition prior to and during the first trimester of pregnancy. So most women are going into pregnancy already nutrient depleted, and then added to this are the naturally increased nutrient needs of pregnancy and breastfeeding. So, of course, food needs to be our first source of nutrition, and eating a healthy and variety diet, variety of sources of foods is really important in pregnancy. But, we do need those essential vitamins and minerals that I mentioned. And so your prenatal vitamin is not going to replace the diet, but it's going to fill in the gaps. It's going to fill in the gaps. I call it, the insurance policy of what's missing. So let's look at the impact of prenatal vitamins. In the American Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology in December 2008, in an article titled Healthy Women, Healthier Reproductive Outcomes, and this is recommendations for the routine care of all women of reproductive age. What they showed is that taking a prenatal multivitamin not only improves the baby's health, but also the health of the mum. So the benefits of taking that prenatal vitamin includes improved likelihood of becoming a parent. We want that, absolutely. We want, the benefits of reducing the risks of miscarriage, reducing the risks of anxiety, like prenatal anxiety, postpartum anxiety, depression, and postpartum depression. And that has a really big impact, especially when you're a new mum and you're depressed. There's also the risk of pregnancy complications. So these include your preeclampsia, your gestational hypertension, your preterm birth, your low birth weight babies, even birth defects and stillbirth. So all of these have massive health and safety consequences on not only just the mum and the baby, but then long term, we've got long term complications with the health. If your baby is nutrient depleted, there's the increased risks of diabetes and cardiovascular disease when preconception nutrition is not optimized. So it makes sense, doesn't it? So we need to start with that. Number one, preconception, multivitamin, number one. So when do we begin the preconception multivitamin? And for how long? I mean, this is the biggest thing to learn from today. So I recommend starting minimum 3 to 6 months, ideally 6 to 12 months. And then if I am looking at utopia, 12 to 24 months. But who goes into a pregnancy planning 2 years ahead? Not a lot of women, all right? A lot of women. And, I think the stats are about 80% of women go into pregnancies not even knowing they're pregnant. So, you can see that we're already going into this pregnancy nutrient depleted. So you've got to load up on the good stuff. We need to get that multivitamin, even if you are pregnant, and we want to continue that all the way through. So, if you found out you're just pregnant, jump on the prenatal multivitamin. That's the first thing you are going to start to, all right, I need that straight away. And you're going to do that all through the pregnancy and then all through the, postpartum until you finish breastfeeding, and then 3 months after that. Now, if you are considering having more children, I just get my patients to stay on your preconception multivitamin, all right? Because, if you're going to have that baby in the future, you want to start the prenatal 6 months before. So just stay on it. Yes. So, and then literally, then you can come off it later. But if we're going to break it down, and today I wanted to simplify. I have so many patients that come to see me. They are taking a plethora of preconception supplements. And, most people understand about the prenatal multivitamin. I mean, most women know that. But if you don't know that, we want to be taking that. That's your number one. Ideally with methylfolate. This is your activated folate. We want to make sure it has the activated folate, not folic acid, partly because most of the population, now I treat every patient as if they have the MTHFR gene, because over 50% of the population carry at least one variant of the MTHFR gene, which means that you have an inability to create healthy levels of active folate, all right? And we need active levels of folate for DNA synthesis and repair. So this is vital for cell division and growth. It's for the DNA creating embryos. We need it for your homocysteine metabolism. All right, folate prevents the homocysteine climbing too high. If it climbs too high, then there's the risk of blood clots. So that results in miscarriages late in pregnancy. And methylation. We need activated folate for methylation, the conversion of the homocysteine into methionine. All right, so that's why I have everyone that's trying to conceive or planning to conceive on a prenatal with methylfolate. We want about 400 to 800 micrograms of methylfolate. So that's your number one. And we want to be starting at least 6 to 12 months before, ideally 12 to 24. The best time to take your preconception multivitamin, all right, and this is important that you take it with a meal. It's usually with breakfast. So, with breakfast, wake up and to have your breakfast. I usually start all my patients on the morning ritual, which is, 6-ounce glass of water with, your apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons and a squeeze of lemon. And then about 30 minutes later, you do your breakfast with your preconception multivitamin. And the biggest takeaway with your preconception multivitamin is that we don't want to be taking it on an empty stomach. It's often, so many of my patients, they have gut problems, sensitive guts, or, so it can create nausea. It can create digestive discomfort. So you want to ideally take it with food containing some fat to help with absorption. And then also, I know that I'm telling most of my fertility patients to, lose the caffeine, but you want to avoid taking it with tea or coffee because it's going to inhibit the absorption of all certain nutrients, particularly the iron. All right. So take it at least, an hour after your coffee or tea, if you have had tea or coffee, and with food. That's the biggest takeaway. But in the morning, ideally. The second most important supplement after the prenatal is your essential fatty acids. So this is your fish oils. All right. So there are 3 types of essential fatty acids. You've got your omega-3, your omega-6, your omega-9. So for fertility, we want to choose the omega-3 and the omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-3s, it's crucial for the healthy regulation of hormones. It improves the blood flow to the reproductive organs. The omega-6 helps fertility by improving cell division. So I recommend that you get a combined DHA and EPA, either from fish oil or your algal oil, vegan source, and a common ratio of your EPA to DHA in omega supplements is it's a 2-to-1 ratio. So 2-to-1 meaning EPA is 2 to 1 DHA. All right, so if I'm looking at, that ratio, you'd have about 800 milligrams of your EPA and 400 milligrams of your DHA. I mean, it's pretty simple math, but for absorption, it's best taken with a meal, particularly one that is fat soluble, so containing a fat, and it's, just avoid this one on an empty stomach. You can have a nasty aftertaste. Some of the brands, they have some rosemary, which helps neutralize that aftertaste, like Metagenics, which I highly recommend. But I recommend this one with lunch or dinner to maximize absorption and avoid any potential aftertaste. CoQ10, this is 3rd on the list. So this is your coenzyme Q10. It's a naturally occurring antioxidant, plays a crucial role in energy production within the cell. So it's found in the mitochondria, where it helps generate energy in the form of ATP. And this is essential for cellular function, health. It comes in 2 forms. So we've got 2 forms, the ubiquinone and the ubiquinol. The ubiquinol is the reduced active form, which is more readily absorbed and utilized by the body. So it's often considered the better option for fertility. But in saying that, whatever you can source, whether it's your CoQ10 or your ubiquinol. Now, it's found in your organ meats, it's found in fatty fish, it's found in meat, it's found in veg and legumes and nuts and seeds and eggs. So we are getting it in the food source, but we need extra, all right, for fertility, especially when we're working in this niche of over 40. So how does CoQ10 help with fertility? Well, it improves the egg quality because it supports the mitochondria function. And as women age, the mitochondria function decreases, so it can affect the egg quality. So we believe that the CoQ10, it improves the egg quality, and it's responsible and required for maturation, development, and especially in older women. It's also great in sperm health. So I have all my male fertility patients on CoQ10. And so this improves, the sperm motility, improves the sperm count and the overall quality, reducing oxidative stress. So it boosts sperm cells. It's amazing. So men need to be on a high dose of this, around 600 milligrams. Now, it's what else? It supports embryo development, and we need CoQ10 to help the baby grow and develop properly. So the best time to take CoQ10 is also with meals, and it's also fat soluble, so it's better taken with dietary fats. So we want to take it in the morning or early afternoon. I think the big takeaway with CoQ10, because it plays a role in energy production, it can interfere with sleep. So try not to take it at night. I think that's the biggest takeaway. So, morning or early afternoon. Like I take my CoQ10 in with an afternoon snack, because that's kind of when I get my energy slump. So I use the CoQ10 for a bit of an energetic lift. But yeah, it's just typically not recommended to take it at night. Number 4 on the list is magnesium. Now, I love magnesium. I have every single patient, male and female, on magnesium because it improves fertilization rates. It supports progesterone production. It increases blood flow to the uterus and the reproductive organs. All right. But it has, over 300 enzyme reactions. I could sit here and I did a talk on magnesium, and we went into the beauty of magnesium. I just think it's probably my number 1 favorite supplement. because it helps with everything. It calms the nervous system. It regulates the HPA axis, and it supports your hormones. It reduces your blood sugar and normalizes insulin. I often refer to magnesium as the natural metformin. It supports your thyroid health. So it's essential for the production of thyroid hormones, and it helps quiet the autoimmune inflammation, all right, with thyroiditis, Hashimoto's. It aids sleep. Very good to be taken at night. So, and it combines well with your amino acids, your glycine and your taurine. It fuels the mitochondria. It normalizes, as I said, the action of progesterone. But the big thing for me with magnesium, it activates your vitamin D, and we need healthy levels of vitamin D. And I'm going to talk about that next, because it's next on the list. And without sufficient magnesium, vitamin D can't do its job. All right. So, yeah, and it slows aging. It works on preventing the telomere shortening, so reducing the oxidative stress and enhancing the production of glutathione. You can see, if you're not taking magnesium, I bet you're going to be ordering that after this talk. So the best time to take magnesium depends on your goals or how your body responds to it. I think it's different for everybody. So I take mine in the evening before going to bed. I find it's very calming. It's very relaxing because it works on muscle tension. Remember, your heart is a muscle, so it's going to relax the heart. So it improves the quality of sleep. So yeah, take it at night, and I'll often take it with a snack. You can take it with food if you're getting some gastrointestinal discomfort. If you're getting diarrhea, then you definitely need to take it with food, or you might need to change the form of magnesium that you're taking. Magnesium bisglycinate or magnesium glycinate is the most absorbable form, and it tends to not affect the bowels as much. But I have some patients that actually use it to move the stool, and they'll use the magnesium citrate or citrate, magnesium citrate. Okay, so magnesium's amazing. So number 5, vitamin D. It plays a strong role in sex hormone production, and it's involved with improving your fertility. It reduces insulin resistance in women that have PCOS. It plays a role in treating fibroids, in treating endometriosis, in improving IVF outcomes. Vitamin D improves high quality embryos. We use it for egg quality, preterm labor, mood. We find vitamin D in a lot of the food source, our fatty fish, cod liver oil, our eggs, and sunshine. Is the most important source of your vitamin D. But dietary sources and sunshine aren't enough to meet your fertility pregnancy needs. And often in your prenatal, the dose of vitamin D is very low. All right, so I tend to superdose this, especially with women over 40, at around 5,000 IU daily. In summer, we might reduce it down to 2,000 IU. All right, but most women are underdosing. 1,000 IU is just not going to cut it. Now, it's ideal to have your labs checked because, I find 80 to 90% of my patients are vitamin D depleted. So we want to make sure that you've got around 48 to 80 nanograms per milliliter on your serum vitamin D level. So check your labs. And we want it up at I like to see, not the lower end. I like to see above 80 to 165 nanograms per milliliter for my fertility patients. I want them at the top end. Okay, so vitamin D, super, super important. Best time to take vitamin D is with a meal, a fat-soluble meal, in the morning or midday. Like, think of the sun. So you kind of use it in the morning or midday. Think of it like sunshine, and it's a hormone. All right. So just think of not taking it at night. It's not, like some people can take it at night, but for some of my patients, it can potentially, and it has potentially disrupted their sleep. So if you have sleep issues, then early morning or lunchtime is the best. And then the last one I'm going to talk about today is your probiotic. So it's going to, augment fertility. We've got to look at our microbiome. Our gut health is super important for fertility. If you've got dysbiosis, or you've got your bacterial vaginosis or abnormal flora going on, this is going to lead to, your risk of miscarriage goes up, your risk of preterm birth goes up. And, I have a lot of IVF protocols. They will use antibiotics because they want to make sure that the flora is right. But that also then, there's a two-way thing with that. So we want to make sure if you are doing an IVF cycle and you've been prescribed your antibiotics in your protocol, you need to be taking a probiotic, because it's also getting rid of all the good flora, and we need that. So we want to make sure that you're taking around 20 to 40 colony forming units, CFUs. All right. So, and particularly we want a broad spectrum of lactobacillus species. All right. But you want lactobacillus rhamnosus during pregnancy is really good. It can also help prevent urinary tract infections and gestational diabetes, preeclampsia. All right. And so at the end of the day, if we don't have our gut right, often what I'm seeing, the outcome is that, our babies can lead to eczema, allergies, asthma in babies if our probiotics and our gut flora is not right. So probiotics is a big thing. All right. Now you can get your probiotics and your prebiotics in food, take advantage of, adding in some sauerkraut, some kimchi, some, miso-free, miso soup, or your beet kvass. So all those fermented foods are really awesome. But, when we're really kind of streamlining it, and if you do have gut stuff going on, we need to get a probiotic with about 20 to 40 colony forming units. Now, the probiotic can be taken at any time of the day, but there are a few factors to consider. Now, in the morning, if you take them before a meal, like in the morning before you've got your stomach is less acidic first thing in the morning, so you can take it 15 to 30 minutes before food. You can take it with or without food. I actually like to take mine with food, and I usually add some fat to improve the absorption and survival of the bacteria. This is just a personal thing. The main takeaway with your probiotics is that you want to avoid hot drinks. No tea, no hot, no herbal teas. Hot drinks is going to kill the bacteria. So make sure no hot drinks with your probiotics. Okay. So yeah, around 20 to 40 billion colony forming units for improving the gut and reproductive health. Then it's about customizing. So I've given you the basics, the basic template. They're the top 6. Then it's about customizing. All right. So just say egg quality. All right. You've got issues with egg quality, and you want to focus on this. You've had some PGT testing, or like if that's an issue, or if you're 45 to 48 on trying to conceive, and egg quality is something we want to focus on. So 3 things that I might optimize with you. I might add in NR. This is your nicotinamide riboside, or your NMN, your nicotinamide mononucleotide, or your NAD plus. Okay, so your NAD, everyone's talking about it. All right, but supplementing with your NR or your NMN, they are what boost your NAD plus. All right, so it's improving the cellular function, the energy production, and the mitochondrial function. So what the NAD plus does, it's a substrate for your sirtuins. It's a family of enzymes that play a key role in DNA repair, gene expression, okay, and mitochondrial function. And we've seen a lot of studies with this now, and it helps maintain the egg quality. It helps delay ovarian aging and can reverse engineer. We've seen it in rats. These are the studies that we're seeing. Now, if you're dosing this around 250 to 500 milligrams daily, all right, if I'm also looking at egg quality with CoQ10, and another one would be resveratrol, 500 milligrams daily. So this is, if I'm looking at egg quality, now this is by all means, I'm just coming in here very basically. This is not just the only things I might supplement. I might add in NAC, myoinositol, alpha lipoic acid. But these are the 3 things that I might add in if there's an egg quality issue. So I might, it might be those 3 that I'll add on. If there is a hormonal imbalance, like if you come to me and you go, oh, I've got low MH, I've got high FSH, we might do some labs, I'll test your DHEA, and we'll, because we've seen that DHEA supplementation has been shown to lower high FSH and improve AMH. So I'll always test your DHEA before I supplement with that. And I'll always go in at a lower dose, around 25 to 50 milligrams of DHEA. 75 milligrams, I think, is way too high. And but anyway, that's something that we could consider, right? That's where I might tailorize if there was that going on. It might even add in something like vitamin E or melatonin. If you had something like PCOS and you said, okay, I've got insulin resistance, I've got PCOS, and you came to see me and you're trying to conceive, I might add in, how would I customize this? I might add in, make sure some N-acetylcysteine. I might add in some berberine if there's belly fat and insulin resistance. I may add in some lipoic acid, ALA. I may even add in your myo-inositol. So this is key because it improves your insulin sensitivity and it helps restore ovulation. So myo-inositol for PCOS. If, for example, you came to see me, you had endometriosis, you had lots of inflammation, is a major concern, I would make sure, well, you're definitely on your essential fatty acids, right? Your fish oils. I might add in curcumin. I might add in your N-acetylcysteine. Right, you see how we might modify it, but I'm trying to keep them under 10, right? Like less is best, as close to 6 as possible. If the male partner came to see me and he had like low motility, low morphology, I will say let's add in some selenium, right? Let's add in some L-arginine. Let's add in, make sure we've got a high dose of zinc. All right, and if we were looking at selenium, I would be saying anywhere between, like the sweet spot is around 200 micrograms of selenium. So you can see that, we start to optimize with the supplements. So not everyone gets all the same supplements. So you see why, you might look at some articles, which is why Dr. Google's not always the best place to start. That's why it's good to work with a healthcare professional so they can tell you, how to put you on the right protocol for your case. So if I give you a case study, for example, let's just talk about a case study. I'll give you an example of a patient that came to see me. She was 41. She was struggling to conceive. She had PCOS, which she had irregular cycles, and she had a lot of anovulation. So that's a lack of ovulation. And that was happening over a period of 2 years. And she was diagnosed with PCOS, and this caused the infrequent periods. She had insulin resistance. She also had a lot of weight gain. So despite multiple attempts to conceive, she'd not been successful due to her irregular ovulation patterns. So we had to put an intervention, put a protocol in place. And so what I did is I customized her supplement protocol to address her PCOS, her insulin resistance, her hormonal imbalances. So clearly we started with her preconception multivitamin. Secondly, myo-inositol. We put her on 4 grams of that daily. And then in addition to that, her omega-3 fatty acids, 1,000 milligrams of that daily. We had her on 5,000 IU of a vitamin D, all right, which is, vitamin D deficiency is common with women with PCOS. I then had her on 600 milligrams daily of N-acetylcysteine to improve insulin sensitivity and also to reduce oxidative stress. I also had her on alpha lipoic acid, 300 milligrams daily to enhance insulin sensitivity and to improve her blood sugar. And then the magnesium. Okay, so that was her protocol with her supplements. In addition to that, I got her to follow a low GI diet. I got her exercising, but eating whole foods, not starving herself. All right, her tank was so empty. She was so depleted and she was starving herself. So there was just not enough nutrition. So we got her eating right and not overdoing the exercise. She was over-exercising and under-eating. And then in Chinese medicine, I gave her a formula, a classic formula, a PCOS formula that we use. I modified this formula, Sung Fu Dao Tan Tung. And we added in, you know, we modified it for the PCOS. I added in Huang Qi, Shanya, and Germu. We also did acupuncture on her weekly. And we did points like, you know, stomach 29. I love stomach 29 for really promoting the function of the uterus, especially when there's been a lot of irregular ovulation. It helps regulate. Stomach 20, it's down on the pubis. All right. These points on the stomach channel. We use stomach 40. I used a lot of bladder points, spleen 6, ren 4, liver 3, colon 4, kidney 3. This was like a bit of an acupuncture protocol. Now, after 3 months of now we had consistent supplementation. It was 3 months before we got a regular menstrual cycle. It took us 3 months of following this, rinse and repeat, weekly acupuncture, taking her herbs, eating, exercising. We got her to sleep well. This was a big other thing too. She wasn't sleeping enough. Now, by the 5th month, she was consistently ovulating. And then on the 7th month, she conceived naturally. Now, she delivered the healthy baby, but we continued most of those supplements postpartumly. The only supplements we stopped is, you know, the fish oil. We stopped that at around 35 weeks, all right, because that can increase bleeding. And I actually took her off N-acetylcysteine, ALA. I kept her on the vitamin D, the magnesium, and her Preconception multi pretty much all the way through, and then we added back in the minoxidil. So you can see that, you know, when you get the protocol right, you know, I think the encouraging thing is it can be so confusing when you first start out. There's just so much information that it's overwhelming. So I wanted to simplify it today. I want it to be simple but impactful so that you can really step into your preconception and pregnancy journey so you're informed. So you know what your number 1 is, you know what your number 2 is, you know the 6 most important things you need on this journey. And that's pretty much everyone needs those six things on this journey. And then we tailorize it based on what your conditional pattern is or what the blocks or deficiencies are. So I think the takeaway is you deserve to feel empowered and just knowing that you're providing the best nourishment for your health and the health of your baby. So I hope you found this guidance here, and I hope that you can move forward just doing that. So now I'd love to hear from you. So if you have any questions about what I've discussed today, if you would like to turn on your camera, I'm here to help. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Mm.
Okay, first of all, this was a powerful, powerful session. This was so good, by the way. I just want to let you know that.
Thank
So,
you.
oh my God, so good. So I'm gonna definitely look at the replay because there were things I didn't get to catch, so I could write them down later.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to know about what I've noticed when I take the vitamins is that my urine is like really like, it's almost like neon or something.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what is up with that? Let me stop. So I stopped taking them. And so I said, it is the vitamins. So what are your thoughts to that?
Yeah, this is quite normal. These are your B vitamins that are coming through the urine. It can be an issue with absorption. It can be, you know, that we need to focus on, all right, what are you're excreting a lot of it. You can see it. It's in their urine. It's almost like I could bottle my urine, but we're not going to talk about urine therapy. I mean, that's a whole other conversation and a rabbit hole I really don't want to go down. But the reality is, yeah, we are wasting so much of it, you see? So I would then be going.
So it's not supposed to be that color. It's supposed to be more pale.
It should become pale throughout the day. So if you started in the morning, all right, it's going to be a more heavily diluted first thing in the morning, but then by the end of the day, we would hopefully see that it's not so neon. Yeah, yeah. So if it's remaining neon, I'd be looking at, all right, let's look at a gut healing protocol. You know, can we add in probiotic? Can we look at your gut health? Yeah. For maximum absorption. Yeah. Good question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Darcy, do you have a question? Or Deanna? Deanna, hello.
Hi. Hello,
Nice to meet you.
doctor. I just wanted to show you that I have your book. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, brilliant.
So yeah, thank you. I live in California. I've started reading the book. I wanted to ask a couple questions. One of them is about, like, for me, the issues that I think I'm facing are, one, my weight. I recently lost about 40 pounds, and I think I'm on a GLP-1. I am doing it low dose and combining fasting. And and interestingly, like, when I'm not fasting, I'm really trying to focus on nutrition with my food, which is something I've never really thought about
Okay.
much, but because I'm thinking about trying in the future to have a baby. I have a partner now for a year, but we haven't started trying. And I just guess I wanted to ask the first question of, I feel that I need to fast and lose weight. I had my labs done in the midst of like a 12-day fast, and actually, like, my B12, which I wasn't supplementing, had gone really high because I guess I had been in ketosis, burning fat, and it got released in the bloodstream.
Yeah.
What would you say is the right balance between losing the weight and focusing on nutrition? I am also trying to, I have an Aura ring. I'm trying to track when my period's coming and make sure I'm not fasting the week before that, and possibly not fasting the week before I'm trying to build progesterone to support my ovulation.
Well, first of all, I need to understand a little bit more about how you fast. Yeah. So can you just run it, like,
Sure.
yeah,
So I
run me through that.
really believe in the pathophysiology of going into ketosis.
Mhm.
And I know some people go into ketosis and then maintain it by eating like high fat, low carb. I was doing longer fasts because I have a lot of weight to lose. So I was taking the low dose GLP-1 Zepbound 5 milligram, getting myself through day one of not eating anything. And by day two, day three, my urine strips for ketosis were in purple. I bought something called a Keto Mojo that showed me my glucose was really low and my ketones were high, and it said I was in a therapeutic level of ketosis.
Okay. Now,
Um,
how many days would you fast for?
Well, I started with 60 hours the first time, then I did 72 hours, and then I had my period and I didn't fast at all that week. And then the following week, I did it for 11 and a half days.
Okay. So
Without any, like, for me, I felt fine. I was going to work. I was obviously having my electrolytes in like water with salt.
okay, so if we look at it like this, your goal is weight loss at the moment. Am I understanding that? Is that correct? Yeah. So
Yes.
how much weight do you need to lose to be in your sweet spot? Where do you need to be?
Well, I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
I can tell you that it's been like, so I have a history of when I was younger. I'm actually turning 45 in like 2 weeks. When I like, so about 20 years ago, I got pregnant in college and was seeing the certified nurse midwives and developed preeclampsia
Okay.
during my second trimester.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think since then, I have been really scared about getting pregnant
Yeah.
because I had a classic C-section and, lost the baby.
Oh, darling. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm getting the backstory now. Big huggy bears for you. Oh, I wish I could give you a big hug. So there's a lot of trauma here in this case study. You can feel this. We can all feel this for you. So we're all going to put our hand on our hearts just to give you some love. All right. So you can feel the love around you. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, as we know, preeclampsia, it's high blood pressure. It's where we get protein in the urine, and there is the risk of miscarriage for those of you that don't know what preeclampsia is. And it's devastating, as you can see with Deanna. So my heart goes out to you. So first and foremost, I'd be looking at healing that, because there's grief there. There's still grief around it, as if it's here now, even though it was some time ago. Sending you hugs, babe, from Jessica. You reading that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all here.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're amongst the sisters. You're amongst the sisterhood here. And then secondly, what I want you to think about, right now your focus is on weight loss, and I totally get that. We want to get you into a healthy place. But when we want to really start to try going into fasting from a Chinese medicine perspective, it's a little bit restrictive. All right. So this is where, you know, working with somebody like me as a professional, we could work with those needs, and we could go, all right, how do we support you maintain a level of ketosis that's safe? All right. And it could be looking at low FODMAPs. It could be where is the weight coming? It could be just emotional protection. Yeah, it could be coming from the trauma. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that you're not nutrient deprived going into this preconception care. You see, so you'd need to strategize it. So I deal with one thing at a time. One thing at a time. First of all, the weight loss, and then give yourself the time to reintroduce the food, and then understand, you know, if it's like, if we're battling PCOS type stuff, all right? See, a lot of the time we fast and we starve ourselves, but it's really interesting when I work with my PCOS clients. They're like, oh, I can eat all of this food? Wow. It's just portion sizing and understanding the balance of your protein, carbs, and fats. Like, we actually do need nature's garden. Fasting's great, short term, but it's not a solution long term, I guess, is the long and short of it, for fertility, for creating healthy embryos. It's way too restrictive.
Yeah. No, I know that it's not like going to be like a lifestyle thing. It's just
Yeah.
a temporary thing
It's a
to
temporary
lose the
thing.
weight.
Yeah. Yeah, and in a temporary situation, fasting is fantastic. You know, I've seen it decrease like inflammation markers, and you know, like I've had patients where they've had ankle injuries or back pain and just haven't been able to shift it, and they do a fast for 3 to 5 days, and it clears up the inflammation. Like, I'm not anti-fasting. There's so much
Yeah.
data and research around fasting now. But when we're trying to conceive, you know, so I think we need to structure it in a way that the goal right now is weight loss and fasting to get you into a place where you feel safe, so that there's not that fear of preeclampsia. In the interim, while you're doing that, I'd be suggesting something like some trauma therapy. I don't know if you've ever heard of EMDR therapy, but it's something that can help you through trauma, because this is still very, very, very sensitive for you. Like, we can all feel it. It's so real, as if it's here and now. So there's some PTSD of what you went through. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I've been reading the book. I don't know if you know Bessel van der Kolk. He's got the book called The Body Keeps the Score. This is probably in my top 5 books now of all time. I believe we all carry a little bit of PTSD from something somewhere. And it's not just Vietnam vets but, you know, pregnancy loss is real. And we need to find those tools. So in my fertility coaching, I coach my patients to work through some of this trauma. And perhaps I'll give you a little thing today, because it's a little present. And I love this technique. It's called the havening technique. It's used as a psychosensory technique to help trauma, to help move through things like this, where you've got anxiety, where you've got loss, trauma, and PTSD. And it's just stroking the face. It doesn't matter what sequence you do. Follow me, Deanna. Okay. Stroke the face. And I want you to repeat after me. Let's just say, I am safe.
I am safe.
I believe in my body's capacity to create new life.
I believe in my body's capacity to create new life.
Everything is fine.
Everything is fine.
I am well.
I'm well.
I am fertile.
I'm fertile.
I am divine love.
I am divine love.
And you can repeat those affirmations. So this time we slide down the arms. So tips of the shoulders, opposite arms, and you slide down the arms. Now, everyone that's on this call, we can do this. You know, slide the arms down. And we might just use the mantra, my body is fertile. I often use that with my fertility patients. My body is fertile. And feel it. I often get the goosebumps when you do this technique. And there's 3 techniques. And the last one is we're just literally wiping the hands, like you're almost stroking the hands. I am fertile. Everything is working out perfectly for me. Let's use that one as a mantra. Everything is working out perfectly for me.
Everything is working out perfectly for me.
And it's really good to do these 3 exercises. So now, what are they? Stroking the face lightly. Whenever you have that feeling of preeclampsia coming up, or you've got this fear of getting pregnant, what are you going to do? You're going to stroke the face, aren't you?
Okay. Yeah.
Whenever you feel those emotions coming up, you then stroke down the arms. And you might just do 3 to 5 repetitions. And then the last one, it helps move through trauma because it works to waves the brain. Really amazing little technique.
Yeah. It's actually been quite a while, and I usually don't get emotional about it, but I think
honey,
just
yeah, this is big. It's great.
Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is I had done a 23andMe that showed me that I'm heterozygous for MTHFR. And I recall, the prenatal I took back then having folic acid in it. And I was wondering if you could just speak a little bit to the negative, like what do you think negatively happens to a pregnant woman if they're taking folic acid and they may have MTHFR? And now I'm on like methylfolate. I am taking a prenatal liquid vitamin that has methylfolate as well.
Well, it's like I said in the beginning of the talk, it's all about, methylation, DNA synthesis, your ability to create red blood cells, so cell division, cell growth, we need activated folate for those reasons. So, it's leads to early miscarriage often if you're not taking activated folate. And a lot of women don't even know that they carry that gene. But I just like to treat as if everyone has it, so that then that way. The
other problem is it's fortified in so many cereals and so many like the folic acid, and I just feel like for me, I think it's toxic. I'm not saying that's what caused my initial problem, but I'm super scared of folic acid now.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good that you're bringing that to our attention, and it's important. So, make sure that your prenatal has your methylfolate around 400 to 800 micrograms. And if you do see, that it does have folic acid, and avoid folic acid, because the terms, they get interchangeable. I think that's the common misunderstanding. And so your doctors, often they just think they're doing the right thing. They don't know. They don't understand, what it actually does. So we need healthy, active folate for your DNA synthesis and repair. We need it for building embryos, red cell production, and, that homocysteine climbing too high. So we don't want to create blood clots, so it's super important. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Are there any other questions before I close the meeting?
Yep, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Darcy, hello.
Me too.
For some reason, I can't get my video to work. I don't know how to do it from my phone.
Yeah, no problem.
But so what? Okay, so basically two supplements, same question. How do you determine? How do you determine whether a woman needs resveratrol and myoinositol? And I don't know what myoinositol is, so I want to ask you that too.
Yeah, okay. So the first question, how do you know? if you need resveratrol. You know, if you're
Right.
like, if you're mid-40s and above or over 40, you know, this is something that you could consider. All right. If you've had, you know, if you've had IVF failures or you've been trying to conceive for many years, it could be 10 years, then resveratrol could be something that we add to the equation. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah. And
So,
myoinositol,
well, could it have to do anything with like egg quality or?
yeah, that's right. Equality.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Equality.
Okay.
Yeah. If we're working on equality, yeah, absolutely.
And
So
so,
the myoinositol, it works on your insulin resistance. It works
okay.
on improving ovulation. It improves, you know, if you're ovulating regularly, it's going to improve the equality. So it works on equality. So myoinositol is something that we often prescribe with PCOS. It's a PCOS supplement we often use, but there's a lot of women that have insulin resistance that don't have PCOS. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and then further on the resveratrol, or if both of them are prescribed due to egg quality, do you
Yeah.
determine egg quality based on the FSH number?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Did you watch the live last week? Did you watch the yeah.
I
Because
did, but I don't remember it, I guess.
okay, because FSH, it can fluctuate. Now, it can be in response to adrenal fatigue. It can be in response to stress. It can be in response to FSH can fluctuate all the time. So don't always think that FSH means low egg quality. But if you're seeing consistent readings, or if it's high, this is something that you could supplement for high FSH. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Just curious. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Okay,
Oh, Jessica. There we
it's
go.
Jessica.
Hello. Hello, beautiful.
Yes. Hello. Okay, so my question is with the prenatal, because you know how sometimes you have prenatals that say take 2, take 4, take 8. Would
Mhm.
you recommend taking them all at the same time
No.
or breaking them
That's a good
out?
question. Breaking them up. Absolutely. Breaking them up. Yeah. So always break them up.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, we
Okay.
get pill fatigue.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
break them up. Okay. So then my second question is banking off of Darcy's with the resveratrol.
Mhm.
Where would you get that at?
Oh, look, Amazon's got a lot of products online. There's so many that for me just to remember to think off the top of my head. Thorn, I think, are a good brand for resveratrol, but plenty of good brands. Life
Okay.
Extension.
Is there
Yeah.
Is there anything that we're looking for on that particular supplement to ensure its quality?
Around 500 milligrams daily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was wondering if you could just speak to like rotating medications or supplements. So like if you're taking one type of magnesium or one type of CoQ10, like is there something about switching them up with a different brand every 3 months or anything like
You
that?
can switch them up, but you know, I mean, part of it is like that's why it's about doing a supplement review every 3 to 6 months. You know, that you don't just get left on supplements. You know, I have some patients that are just left on supplements for years. So it's sometimes good to, all right, I've been working on the gut health. Take the probiotic out. If you've been on a probiotic for 3 to 6 months, take it out. Focus on the prebiotic and probiotic rich food. All right. It's not like you have to stay on everything consistently. All right. Try things for 3 to 6 months, then give the body a break, streamline it, claw it back, then add things back in. Try a different brand. All right. If your gut has improved, if you've been working on constipation, magnesium citrate, then maybe move from magnesium citrate to magnesium bisglycinate. You know, so you can always change the variations of magnesium depending on what your body needs, because we are organic living matter. Our bodies are changing and evolving all the time. Yeah. So it's a good question. Now, if you're doing like your CoQ10, you might want to, you start with CoQ10 and then you might go to ubiquinol. and go to the active form of ubiquinol. So if you're doing CoQ10, you'll do 600 milligrams of that. You might do that for 3 months and then try the ubiquinol, all right? And then reduce the dose, 300, because it's active. It's a reduced form of CoQ10. So then we'll try the ubiquinol at 300 milligrams and we'll do that for 3 months. Okay, so there's lots of ways to really structure and play with your supplements. And it's a very good question, Deanna. Then we do look at rotation, taking things out, let the body adjust. Yeah, it doesn't always need to have everything all at once. But yes, try and spread your supplements throughout the day so you're not taking everything in one go. Last call out for questions before I say goodbye.
Oh, I just put something in the chat. So
all right,
with the rest. Oh yeah. Okay, go for it.
Hold on, I'm just looking.
Oh, you know what? It's got sent to
Okay,
Bert.
all right. So do you want to just tell me what the question is? Sorry, it's
Yeah.
too long.
No, that's okay. So with the resveratrol,
Yeah.
so when should that be taken?
Yeah.
And is it going to combat with any of the other supplements that we're taking? So
no, because it's working on the mitochondrial function. So what you can do is like maybe take it away from your CoQ10. So if you're doing your CoQ10, at lunchtime, you might do your resveratrol in the morning, okay, or mid-morning with a snack. You just want to separate your supplements as much as you can. I think that's the biggest takeaway. Yeah, but it's not going to interfere. If you wanted to take your resveratrol with your essential fatty acids, you could do that.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you, ladies. Thank you for joining me. It's 11:11 here in Australia. It's quite auspicious for us to be finishing on 11:11 with the big full moon energy. So sending you lots of moon love. I will see you again next week. So maybe we may even talk about food now to go with all of these supplements. So thank you for joining me. Sweet good night. See you next week.
Have a good